I'm Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and this is At Home in Bloomington, brought to you by Karan Ruoff Home Mortgage. We profile the people, places, and resources that make Bloomington, Bloomington, and help you live your best life. At Home in Bloomington. Hello, and welcome to Bingo! No, it's not, but we've been talking about bingo. And our guests, let's just talk about bingo the whole time. So we may have to do that.
We need to go back to the bingo hall. We did that last year.
Right.
I can't go this year to that same fundraiser, which is stinks.
But my friend Sally goes to bingo, I think, most Friday nights with her sister. It's a little family outing.
Could we be adopted on a Friday?
We could totally tag along. Yeah.
Okay.
But, you know.
I would be down for that.
I have to make sure that my stamper is inked and ready to go. My dauber.
Your dauber.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. See, right? I'm like, I can only do one board at a time. I think you were doing multiple boards.
Yes. And, you know, that's what my podcast should be is bingo and all the things that make it fantastic.
All the reasons to love bingo. Okay.
Yes.
That's not what the show is about today.
No.
So welcome to At Home in Bloomington. I am your host, Realtor Deb Tomorrow, joined as always by our lovely bingo caller, Karan Ruoff.
Hello.
Best dam lender in the state of Indiana. And more secrets. Well, bingo's not really a secret, but I feel like I'm confessing that I actually do really enjoy bingo. Like, this is a confession time.
That's okay, because when you get to Meadowood and retire, I'm sure that they can either A, provide you transportation to get there, or B, you will be the bingo coordinator and you'll get it rolling.
I cannot wait to be retired. Speaking of which, I think today's topic is something that I would also enjoy during retirement.
Okay.
So, did you know that many, many, many years ago, I spent a summer in West Texas working at a community theater?
No, you always share some random tidbit of your life. I'm like, no, I had no idea that you played an instrument or what. Okay, so Texas.
I was not playing my bassoon at Midland, Texas. Midland, famous for
sending credit card payments?
No.
Oh, okay. Don't you? I don't have credit
cards. We're never
card.
going to get to our guest today.
I know, but okay. Midland is famous for
two things.
Okay.
Baby Jessica fell in the well.
Oh yes, Baby Jessica.
And the Bush family, the George Bush family, was from Midland, and most of the current Bushes were born in Midland.
Okay.
But when my parents moved to Midland, Texas, the first thing he did was drive me by the house where Baby Jessica fell in the well.
So you were there to do, I forgot even what you were doing in Midland. Now I'm like,
so summer after short story. Summer after my freshman year of college, my parents had moved to Midland, Texas. And so I went there because I had nowhere else to go. That was the one and only summer I went there. And I wasn't there very long. And so there weren't a lot of great job opportunities, so I ended up auditioning for a play and discovering that I'm a horrible actress, horrendous, but I am excellent in being, in the cast.
Okay. Supporting cast member.
Yeah, sitting in a courtroom kind of setting, and then building sets. So I ended up going in and building sets and doing all of that. And then they asked me to stage manage a children's production, Pickwick Players, that was the group, of Lil Abner. And so I was stage manager for that production, which was super fun. I really enjoyed it. Still a horrible actress, but really enjoyed my time in the theater. So we're going to take a little bit of a walk down memory lane. Have you figured out who our guest is?
Nope.
So we're going to walk down memory lane today and also explore what I think is an incredible resource that I honestly did not know much about. So I guarantee you don't know anything about it, Karan.
Okay.
Sorry. That's not an insult to Karan. That's just reality.
Because there's not much that you don't know about this town. So
no, I'm learning about it. So anyway, but I think this resource has the ability to impact many different folks in many different ways, whether those are writers looking for opportunities or artists or patrons or people like me who have no talent at all but want to be involved. Kids. Yeah.
No.
No.
Maybe. Are they downtown?
They are.
Are they like on 9th Street?
They are. Oh, this is like the first time you've ever guessed.
I was sitting there finally. The synapse was like making a connection. Oh,
I'm so excited.
So Bloomington Playwrights.
We're done. Show's over.
Wow. All right.
Yes, Bloomington Playwrights Project.
I'm going to mark this day, seriously.
It is.
Listeners, I'm marking this day.
Yeah, we're recording this on September 17th, 2019. Yep. It is a special day. So we welcome Chad Rabinovitz, who is the Artistic Director at Bloomington Playwrights Project. Congratulations. This is a momentous show.
I don't even feel like I'm necessary here at all. This is great. I learned about the Bush family falling in a well, and I got my dauber. We should just play bingo.
Yes.
Let's just do that.
One time, I should save this for another story, but one time I saw Barbara Bush on the beach in Kennebunkport, Maine. In the early mornings, she was walking with all the Secret Service trailing behind her and a couple grandsons and a couple dogs, and I cursed. I started smacking Eurus, and I was like, that is effing Barbara Bush. That is effing Barbara Bush. I was so excited. And so I was like, I'm going to say hello to her. And he was just shaking his head. And so she had already passed us, and so, but we turned around. We were going opposite directions, right, and came back. And I said, good morning, ma'am. And she said, good morning to me.
And there we have it.
That's better than just going up there saying, you're effing Barbara Bush.
Right. Barbara Bush. And the Secret Service pulls out their guns. Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
Watch out for that well.
Right? I know. Oh, my gosh. Baby Jessica. Okay. So what's the mission of Bloomington Playwrights Project?
Cool. We're the only professional theater in the entire state of Indiana focused solely on new works. So we develop new plays and musicals that start with us and end up going across the country and even beyond.
I have so many questions.
Good. So many answers, right?
So this is where, Karan, your job is to kind of, don't let me go too deep and off track, although we've already been off track today. But how many...
on a track, right? Sure.
What's the point of a track? How many... So you're the only one in the state of Indiana. I'm just fascinated by this concept of new plays. Mm-hmm. How prevalent is that around the country? You probably don't know how many, but...
No, I mean, there's few theaters in the entire country who are dedicated to new works. Because when you think of theater, you think Shakespeare.
Right.
You have your regional theater shows like Little Abner. You have your Hello Dollies that go around. But what we are is the Netflix originals of theater, right? And that's actually what's more on trend than anything else now. It's taken us a while to get there as an industry because everything's built in theater about recycling, about how can I paint the Mona Lisa a little different and look my Midsummer is a different show.
Put your own interpretation on it.
Yeah, it's all about interpreting. And what we're doing is telling innovative, original stories that matter to now. We don't have to adapt an old story to be relevant to you.
Right.
And so we have this feeling that theater is just an antiquated art form. That's why a lot of younger people, you see an audience that is generally older. But we're changing that because we are relevant to all ages all the time. And it's more of an experience, and that's what people want in when they go out of the house these days.
Right.
There's so much you can have by just staying at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, and HBO now. I don't ever have to leave my house.
Do you know how to use them, though? Because I don't know.
I do, and it's great.
Because my friend Brittany's supposed to come paint me pictures.
I can show you.
Yeah. I don't know.
You just press the Hulu button.
Okay.
But like with live theater, it's the reason that you have to get out of the house and go now because it's only happening here. You can't be anywhere else in the world. You have to be right here in Bloomington to be able to see the shows. Mm-hmm. And you think about something like picking a show people know, like Hamilton. Mm-hmm. Hamilton didn't just appear on Broadway.
Right.
It was developed over many years at theaters like the BPP,
right,
where it goes through trial and errors, audiences react to it, changes are made. And that's what happens with us. Our playwrights are in the theater with you, listening to your reactions, and we make changes based on whether you laugh, cry, whether you're looking at your watch, whether you're applauding.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to other theaters and affects other communities based on your reaction. I mean, that's a whole lot cooler.
Right. One time I fell asleep during Miss Saigon.
Oh, no.
That's pretty hard to do. There's like a helicopter that lands on the stage.
Was it the Broadway one?
It was in a big theater in Houston. So it was
they
a
had
Broadway.
The flying helicopter and everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's part of it. It's like you have that notion of like, I might fall asleep to it because it's just so, you feel like you're watching these old stories. When you go to the BPP, it's just we're just hipper. We're just something that you have to stay attuned to because you don't know the story. You don't know what's going to happen.
Because if I have to watch A Christmas Carol one more time, I will commit heinous felonies. I think the last time I sat through that was in Midland, Texas at the theater. And I was wearing a new Angora sweater that I apparently was allergic to. So I was like trying not to sneeze or it was a hot mess. But anyways, so I get your point. One of the things that struck me as I was doing a little bit of research for the show is this idea that I had never really entertained about the life cycle of getting a play to, the final point of where you're seeing it. Maybe IRT up in Indianapolis or, wherever, Bloomington Auditorium, is long. I mean, how long would you say someone,
I mean, on average, for a musical is longer. It could be 2 to 10 years. Some of them are even 12, 15 years. It is a long development process of trial and error, whereas other forms tend to be very, you get your reaction quick from a focus group on a film. But even those can take many years to develop. So there's a lot more work that goes into what you see on our stage than you think. Yeah. We get about 2,000 new plays submitted to us every year.
Oh my gosh.
So that tells you what the industry is like.
And is that just in like Indiana or
from across the globe?
Okay.
Yeah. So we submit. I know it just feels weird because we're in Bloomington. You're like, this is just a small theater in my backyard. Right. But we're known nationally, and we even get scripts sent internationally. So we're one of those places that playwrights know about, that artists know about, that are trying desperately to get their work to start here.
It makes me think of the Sculpture Gardens out in Greene County we did a show with. They have artists from all over the globe. Yeah. Do you know the Sculpture Gardens?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So anyways, it makes me think of that we... if you're new to the community listening to the show, I know that's one of our target audiences is helping people learn about the community, that we really are globally known for a lot of things. Not just basketball.
Not just basketball. But this is one of those industries that not a lot of people know about. And so you just assume that every theater is a community theater. And we work with the community a lot. We do have volunteers and whatnot, but a recent show we did starred Mark Summers, who was a host of Double Dare, Food Summers? Network.
No, I remember that now.
Nickelodeon and Slime and all that stuff. And Double Dare just went back on the air. Yeah. So we did this story about his life starring Mark Summers.
And did he write that?
Actually, it was written by Alex Brightman, who is a Tony nominee, currently starring on Broadway in Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay.
He's playing Beetlejuice on Broadway. So we're talking about working with... he was also the lead in School of Rock on Broadway as well.
Love that movie.
And which he found out about while he was working in Bloomington. He had to go. He's like, I got to leave early because I got to go fly out to audition for Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh gosh!
Right? Wow. No big deal.
Right? No big deal.
People just happen to be right here. Yeah. And so we've been developing Mark's show. There was actually a documentary crew that followed us around. The documentary is now being shopped out to Netflix and all those.
And it's about, he's OCD, right?
Yeah.
So it's about sort of like to think about, he's OCD, so he's like germs and, and that kind of thing there's other ways OCD manifests itself. And then he worked on a show where he was being slimed or people were being slimed and then coming up when you talk to him and sort of, I think there's an interesting juxtaposition of,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story. So we've then developed it. We brought it to New York afterwards. We're looking to bring it to New York City and even develop it into something larger. But that all started right here in Bloomington in our backyard. And there's many projects like that.
And so was that script just one of 2,000 that was submitted to you?
Yep.
And so what do you do with all those? You can't read 2,000 scripts.
No, I'm reading one right now. So we have a
stack in your bathroom.
Yeah. That's exactly it. We have about 40 readers who sort through them, and so we have different processes on how we can get through them. You can't read every 2,000 straight through, so it just takes a lot of organization, a lot of readers' help, and ultimately we're always looking for what's the great new thing that our audience can't wait to see. What's a story that hasn't been told. Or hasn't been told in this way. And it allows us to get unique exciting things that you have to be right here in Bloomington to see.
Are your readers volunteers?
Yes.
So that could be an option. Although I feel like, how would I know if a story hasn't been told before? It
doesn't matter. You know if you like it.
It's new to me.
That's all. And so, like,
if I don't fall asleep while the helicopter.
But that's actually it. If you don't fall asleep and a helicopter's flying in, that's it. But then you say every play is then read. If we're going to read it full, it's read twice. Mm-hmm. So there's another checks and balances, and then it goes to me. And then I look at it and say, okay, well, Deb gave it a 2, Karan gave it an 8. I usually side with Deb, so it's probably not a good
There you go. Yeah. Perfect.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the many ways to volunteer.
And how long is that process from when a script comes in to whether you say yay or nay? Does that take a year?
Yeah, I mean, we just get them in nonstop. Okay. It just depends.
Yeah.
It could be depending on when you submit it. Yeah. I select the season around May every year. Mm-hmm. So if you submit it right before, like March would be our deadline for the season. So you could have submitted it, but you could have submitted it 3 years ago and I held on to it and I considered every year. And then this is the year.
Okay. Interesting. I just, I guess to me, I think the next time I go see a play, I'm going to have a little bit more respect for the amount of work that's gone into, I've seen what it takes to build a set and I've seen the rehearsals and I've seen the lighting and all of that. But the upfront that you don't see the development of that process.
Well, because the nature of our professional role is there is an outcome immediately, know, I mean, or within 30 or 45 days. And here it's like, this is why I'm not creative at all, that I could never have the patience, I think, to work so hard on something and submit it and kind of hope that it gets picked. And then, hone on it and craft it for the next possible, couple years or more. And then, I don't know, that's just a lot that they put into that. And you're right. Yeah. We will be looking at these a little bit more, open-minded, I guess, and really understand that where it all starts.
Yeah. Well, it just treats it more like an adventure, right? It just seems more fun. I can tell you that our next musical is Lost Letters. I've been talking with this writer who I think is one of the best musical theater writers in the country. I paired him up with a book writer, and we've been developing this idea. I will read the script for the first time tonight because I just got the first draft in, and we are fully producing it in December. So we're having a reading of it in New York City in October just to see what needs more work before it's ready for its first audience ever in the world. Mm-hmm. Right here at BPP, and then the goal is, we'll see where we're at, and then we will change the script and then work on getting it to the next stage.
So you're also providing support to the writers.
I'm usually involved 1 to 2 years in advance.
To helping them.
Getting it ready.
Giving them some critiques and that kind of thing.
So what you see in Bloomington has been a long process just to get there, and that's just the beginning of the process.
Oh, interesting. Why do you go to New York for the readings?
Well, because it's where the writers live oftentimes. Okay. I mean, it just depends. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, there's a whole lot of people to choose from, but in this situation, our writer actually just moved to Nashville, our composer just moved to Nashville, and the writer lives in New York City, so we'll hold that reading. And I spend part of my time in New York, so we'll meet there, but then using talent from this region.
So it really is a national project. It's just, that the end point is Bloomington.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. So let's talk, wow, I think I wasted a lot of time talking about bingo or something. But anyways, I don't care. It's my show. We're going to go long. Never wasted time. I want to talk a little bit about the history because BPP has been around for quite some time.
Yes.
So can you just give us sort of a little snapshot of...
Sure. The snapshot is we're in our 40-year anniversary season. Right, so that's cool just to be around that long as a theater, not let alone existing as a theater devoted to new works. Yeah. So we started small and just kept growing and growing, and now we're one of the only companies. We're the only company that owns our own space in Bloomington. Mm-hmm. We own the Ted Jones Playhouse on 9th Street.
It's the big blue building behind Switchyard Brewing.
Yeah. We actually share a wall with Switchyard. So,
okay.
Yeah, if you're a theater, you want to be attached to a brewery.
Right. That's exactly.
We're good friends with Switchyard.
Right.
So yeah, it's a gorgeously renovated theater. We finished the exterior 2 years ago. If you go inside, it's a beautiful lobby, and the space just keeps improving with a lot of state-of-the-art equipment. But it's a nice, intimate 90-seat black box theater. So you're not coming in and being like, oh, well, here's, it's different than the Buzzkirk Chumley, which I also love.
Right.
But
it's a different vibe.
You get that community vibe where you're a part of the audience.
And they would see if I fell asleep.
Yes.
So there's that.
But that makes you stay awake.
Right,
you wouldn't fall asleep during our shows anyway.
No, never.
But it's cooler because you're really a part of the show, and you can feel things. You can be impacted more just because the energy's in the room there. You're sharing it with everyone rather than kind of sitting passively on your couch at home.
Right. When we come back from break, we're going to talk about how to get tickets. Only 90 seats. My guess is that you sell out pretty much every show.
For 5 years straight. Every single
amazing,
performance
right?
of every show.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about other volunteer opportunities as well. So stick around. You are at home in Bloomington.
Hi, this is Karan Rastel with Ruoff Home Mortgage. Did you know that you may qualify for a renovation loan to make updates and improvements on your current house, or to purchase a fixer-upper you can turn into your dream home? Apply now for a free, no-strings-attached pre-approval to learn your options. Contact me today at 812-606-7653 to get started. Ruoff Home Mortgage is an Indiana corporation licensed by the Indiana Department of Financial Institutions. This is not an offer for extension of credit or a commitment to lend. All loans must satisfy company underwriting guidelines. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 141868.
This is your Real Estate Realist. Practical advice on buying and selling real estate based on my experience closing over 800 home sales. You know, it's easy to get overwhelmed when thinking about getting your house ready to sell. And it's easy to get caught up in the idea that you have to spend a lot to get your home ready for the market. But there are lots of free things you should do first. Here are my top 3 tips for preparing your home to sell. And notice they don't cost money, just time and a little effort. Number 1, declutter. We hear this all the time, but what does it mean? In my book, it means every flat surface cleared off. Think of a hotel room and how clean and sleek that looks. That's the vibe you want. From kitchen counters and the tops and fronts of fridges to nightstands and bathroom vanities, clear them completely off. And pare down your bookshelves and collections to about 20% of what you have displayed now. Go ahead and box things up. If you're selling your house, you're moving, right? Number 2, minimize furniture. My general rule is no more than 2 to 3 large pieces of furniture per room. Again, think of a hotel room. Less furniture means a more spacious feeling and more room for buyers to move around as they look at the home. See if a friend can store some things for you for a short period of time. And number 3, clean. I mean, cleaner than you've ever cleaned it. From vents and ceiling fan blades to baseboards and light fixtures, buyers take cleanliness very seriously. It's a sign that the property has been well maintained. It helps a buyer feel more at home. I mean, a clean place is a place you want to relax and stay in for a while. Bribe some friends with beer and pizza to help clean. Just make sure they eat outside. For more information on easy and cheap ways to prepare your home for sale, listen to my Real Estate Today podcast, show number 15. You can find it on iTunes, YouTube, and my website.
My name is Joe Reinhardt, and Deb Tomorrow is my realtor. Deb helped us to sell a property that we had previously listed, for which we were unable to even generate an offer. Deb's responsiveness, professionalism, and her aggressive marketing strategy led to multiple full-price offers for our listing. And that's why I think Deb should be your realtor too. And now, back to the show.
Welcome back to At Home in Bloomington. We'll get back to our guest, Chad Rabinovitz with the Bloomington Playwrights Project in just a second, but I wanted to throw back to episode 27, if you're following along at home, episode 27 of At Home in Bloomington, which is BPP's neighbor, Switchyard Brewing. We talked about it a little bit in the first segment, so it's right in front. You actually share a wall, which I didn't realize.
And a lot of beers.
Just knock on the wall, and they'll throw you a beer over there. But we had a great show with Curtis Cummings, who's the owner of that, and Karen said that's been her favorite show because he brought us beer.
Yes, because I wouldn't have gone in and said, oh, let me try a flight. I don't even know how to pick a flight.
Right.
I'm like, I did though. One time I was like, give me the first 6.
Yeah.
That's how I'm just normal. Like,
start working down it.
Let's just go from 1 to 6 and we'll start there.
Well, I have to confess, I'm not a beer drinker at all. But Orange Blossom Blonde, I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
That's
they have great ciders there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Interesting.
I'm just going to go on their staff.
Right. Exactly. We'll just yeah. And also make sure you're following my Facebook page, Deb Tomorrow Realtor, because Karan and I do events at Sweet Yard Brewing from time to time called Hops and Homes, where we just kind of hang out and say, hey, come have a beer and ask us questions about buying or selling a house, getting a mortgage, credit scores, anything like that. So we are huge fans of that. And remember, they're open early too. So if you're a third shifter, you can still have that drink when you get off work, which is awesome. Okay, let's get back to talking about Bloomington Playwrights Project. I want to talk a little bit about the opportunities for kids, because you do have quite a few opportunities. And so there was an article I found as I was doing my research.
It's not true.
Okay.
I didn't do it.
I don't know. It was written by, I'm going to butcher her name, so sorry about that, but Jennifer Pacenza or something. I don't know. It's Italian. There's a C.
I think that's right.
Is that okay? I would say Pacenza. From the Limestone Post. And the article was really interesting. It was called The Ways the Stage Teaches. Do you remember this?
I
think it was
don't.
Last year. You were quoted. I have a quote from you. Do you want to know what you said?
Yeah, what did I say? Was it nice?
I think this is really interesting.
Yeah, I had a lot of orange blossom.
Exactly. So this is talking about kids being involved in the theater, and you said theater provides tools for life that are hard to gain elsewhere. For example, when you're creating a character as an actor or a playwright, you have to understand their wants, their fears, their needs, and the environment they live in. Ultimately, when they write or perform these characters, the kids, they must be able to understand why someone who is different from them would act differently in the same situation. And I just thought that was really interesting. I'd never thought about it like that. And it's teaching kids, I think, empathy, as well as confidence. I think we all think, teach the kids that get on stage and they'll teach them confidence and blah, blah, blah. But there's more to it. And I think maybe that's why I'm a horrible actress, because I never understoed that.
Yeah, I would have been like you, like the whole anxiety of being on a stage or.
I don't have that. I don't have that. I have no issues being on stage.
Dancing with the Celebrities.
I know. Did you see Dancing with the Celebrities? Thank you very
Deb
much.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
But you're right, because it does also teach just how to, not just the empathy part, but just the understanding of just humans.
Yeah. That people are different.
Yeah.
And thinking about that motivation forces you to think beyond just what you see and think about what people are feeling. So anyways, now that I've told you what I think about it, what are the opportunities that are out there for kids?
Yeah. So we have a full year-round education program, and the heart of it's in the summer. We do all kinds of different camps from all age ranges.
Starting as young as 5.
Yeah, as young as 5. Something that's currently called Broadway Kids, and that's generally 5 to 8. Then we have a program where for 8 to 12, where they would write their own short play or monologue, and then they would perform that as well.
Which seems really overwhelming. When I was reading that camp synopsis, and I was like, that's a lot to get done. And, but I assume it's, 5-10 minute kind of.
Yeah. I mean, they're short, but it's also understanding the process.
The life cycle.
Yeah. Students oftentimes, especially, in schools, you learn to write from a third person standpoint. He went to the mall, and you tell a story that way. But again, it's about inhabiting other people and understanding the differences of people from you. And that's pretty much the core of every social problem we have right now.
Right.
Is understanding why someone different from you would act differently in the same situation.
Yep.
And so this gives you the chance to tell that story from other perspectives, but also yours as well from a first person. So you can actually really get out, what you want emotionally. And so they can tell their story. They learn to do it in steps. So you learn what a want, need, fear is, so that a good dramatic action is about establishing those wants and having someone else who gets in the way of those, adds to your fears, and then you learn how to tell. For these kids, for that one, you would write a monologue as an animal. So Larry the lion. Okay. And create the family, his environment.
What does he want? And
what does he
getting
want?
In the way of
does it make a difference if he's 5 years old or 5,000 years old? Does it make a difference if he lives in the city or in a swamp? And so you start with those basics, and then that character would then meet Timmy the toaster, usually an inanimate object.
Okay.
Right? So you don't have to get bogged down with the human problem yet. And then you learn to write a scene, and then we train you to act in that scene. So it's a step-by-step process.
Do you think that we could write about Timmy the Toaster?
This is going to happen.
No, well, we could.
To.
But I was, the whole time that Chad's been talking, I was thinking of Jack, my youngest, and how he struggles with writing in general. And it's almost like, again, here I go. Too bad, like, this wasn't something that he could have been involved in just as something on the side, like in the summer. I think it would have helped him just in general with writing. And now that he's in junior high, they are in the middle of writing some kind of script for the BTV. Mm-hmm. They do the video production, but he won't let me read it yet. But him and someone are working on it. But I think something like this, and that's why I was like, but you said like 8 to 12. Do you do? So
then we have, there's a program where it's older, up to 17, where they write their own musical. Ooh. And that happens in 3 weeks.
I'm going to send Jack to the 8 to 12 group.
So it's, right. So, but, the difference is if you, let's say you're doing, Peter Pan or something, inherently you're going to have a whole bunch of kids who are playing trees and one person who's playing Peter Pan's name is Wendy. For us, everyone's the star because you're writing your own roles, you're collaborating together, you understand the process, and that's more important in an educational setting than the product.
Right.
So we're not about adding all those bells and whistles. They're not much of a set. They get to build and paint and create their costumes, but it's what they create, and it's understanding that the creation process can happen in your own home. It can happen as a collaborative art form with each other. You just need a pencil and paper, and you can get going. And so you learn more, but you're also having a whole heck of a lot of fun at the same time. For sure.
It's definitely, one of the things that resonates with me is that it's a higher level of thinking that I think we struggle to teach kids these days because we're teaching to tests instead of, teaching to Bloom's taxonomy is kind of, my basis. And so getting to those higher levels where, and that's what.
And I would say it's really just, I would say more, it's a different way of thinking. If you're taught in math that 1 + 1 = 2, here you can learn that 1 + 1 can equal green. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. There are better and worse choices. And you as an artist make a choice of, I want 1 + 1 = this. And now I'm going to collaborate with another artist who wants it to equal blue or 14. And how do we work together to go towards an end product that equals the same thing that we create together? And so there are, again, we teach you how to make more informed choices, but it's not the same type of thinking. And that kind of creative thinking is what we're finding in research is what fuels innovation.
Solves world problems.
Yeah, it's also the type of thing
creates
that makes
world peace. We just want world peace.
It's also social. Like, think about one of the things that we do is a comedy and improv course. And that makes you comfortable in a social setting. Like, I don't have to worry about whether or not I have anything to say.
Right.
Because I know I'm comfortable just being in a room.
Because if we say bingo, you're like, I'm there. I can talk about bingo. That's exactly where that came from, right? The other thing I wanted to mention, I think this is maybe the older kids program, is that even if your kid isn't someone who wants to be on stage, or like me as the world's worst actress, there are opportunities to still be involved. That's where you can really focus in on some of the stage managing, behind the scenes, set production, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So any age, I mean, generally when you get to at least high school and beyond, there's some behind the scenes stuff that you can always do for our shows. Our shows are not, we don't gear our shows towards children. That's, if you want to go see great children's shows, go to Cardinal. They do amazing stuff there. Ours are geared towards adults. Some of them are family friendly, but by accident. But we try to train kids so that then Cardinal can show them how to love theater by going to those shows. There's also another program in town called BAFT, the Bloomington Academy of Film and Theater.
They're on our list of hopeful podcast guests.
Yeah, you should get them, and John Armstrong.
Yep, I've met him.
Yeah, so we've actually partnered with BAFT, and we actually, now all of our programs fall under the Academy umbrella. We actually handle the administrative work for BAFT, and all of our camps are now a part of it. It's just this really cool school that's starting. It's like big enough to be called a university. Yeah. There's so many courses.
And I have a client who teaches animation and to kids and adults. And I mean, that's overwhelming to me.
Yeah, they're teaching like a CGI course. And I'm like, man, I wish I had the time. Yeah. They have so much stuff. And so we offer some of their courses, and they just encompass so many others. So together, this is becoming an elite place for training if you actually want to pursue it, or if you just want to be a hobbyist, or let's just say you want to learn how to make better films with your iPhone, whether you're a kid or you're an adult, because you just want to take better home movies.
Right.
There's courses for everything now in Bloomington through BAFT and through BPP. You just go to newplays.org. You can find out all about it, and go to BAFT's website. There's nonstop year-round programs.
So I guess the thing is, like, you want to still be attainable to the regular people. Like, I think that's why I was involved in the theater in West Texas, because it was West Texas. And Tommy Lee Jones is from Midland, and so is Woody Harrelson. But anyways, I did not work with either one of them. But, it was a community theater. It was attainable to people who didn't have a ton of experience or ways to get involved. And so, I think that's important. So where do your actors come from?
So it's a range. We cast locally a lot. We cast a lot from IU's musical theater department or theater department. We've brought in ringers like Mark Summers. We did a show last year called Spun, where we had two high-level New York City actors who we brought in, or we'll cast someone who lives down the street from you. So our auditions are open to everyone. There's a whole heck of a lot of talent in Bloomington.
Yeah.
So we try to maximize the resources we have here, while also keeping our standards extremely high for the end product, because that's a product-based, thing with our shows. So yeah, it's kind of everywhere. Our designers come from generally New York City or Chicago, and directors. I mean, the person directing our next show is from flying in from Canada for it. So talent can come from everywhere, and we'll find great talent, and the majority of it here in Bloomington or regionally.
How many productions do you typically do a year?
5 main stage shows a year and a couple of special events.
Okay. And how long do the shows usually run for?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay.
And those are the ones that have been sold out for 5 years straight.
Yep. Every single performance of every production, there's been a waiting list to get in the door. Like, that's unheard of in theater, especially for new works. But I like to define us as the restaurant, the hot restaurant in town, the one that has a line around the block just to get breakfast in the morning.
Right.
Because people have started to realize that this is the only place you can see this show. And your production values are going to be high. The quality of what you're going to see is going to be high. And you're willing to take the risk. And that's part of the adventure, because it's going to be good.
Right.
And then you can find out if you saw the next great new thing.
So if you're running for 3 weeks on a particular show, is that every night, or is it?
It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So since you sell out, what is the best way to get tickets?
You get your tickets early, always at least a week early.
Okay.
That's honestly a big part of my job is handling emails and calls from patrons who have learned that there's no tickets, and we just have this waiting list. And I want everyone to see it. We can't possibly. So you go to newplays.org. All of our tickets are sold there or through the BCT box office. That's who handles our boss, the Busker Chumley.
They were also a podcast guest.
Oh, yeah.
I've hit them all. Yeah.
Yeah. They're great. And so they handle our box office services. And you can start seeing with that and like BAFT, we're all about community collaboration.
Yeah, I love that.
That's
I love how any organization that is looking at, other organizations not as competition, but as there's plenty of resources for all of us. Let's share and let's collaborate.
Yeah. Good art breeds more good art. Like that's, if you have a lot of art in town, you start breeding people who, like you were like, oh, there's so much to go out. And you seeing one thing, you're like, oh, what can I do next? Mm-hmm. And so then you become an arts patron. So we're all kind of working together. At the end of the day, I need you to come to see 5 nights should be at BPP.
Yeah.
10 if you see everything twice. That's what you should do. But after that, you still have 355 days left to go see other things. And we can grow as a community quicker than I can grow as an individual. And that's how we'll affect the most, change and impact on our, downtown area.
Yeah, absolutely. So one other thing that you guys do, I think, am I wrong? Arts Fair on the Square?
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about that, because I don't think any of us had any idea that was a BPP project.
Well, that's something that it happened, I want to say like 9 years ago. The Arts Fair on the Square was something that the the Bloomington Area Arts Council ran, and then when that the Arts Council folded, it was kind of up in the air, and there was no one to run the arts fair anymore. So we just said, we'll do it. And that's what's happening.
Crazy.
Well, because, at the end of the day, I was like, well, what's important to us is that we're forwarding the creation of new art. And that's the heart of what that is. And it's one of the leading economic drivers for the downtown area over the summer. And so it's important that it stays. And it seemed like it was something that would go away because the city passed on doing it because they had plenty of stuff to do.
Sure.
And there wasn't anyone that stepped forward and wanting to do it. And so we did, and we've just been trying to grow that year after year and have expanded it a bit. And we get thousands of people in the summer to come buy art.
Is that usually on the same weekend as
Taste of Bloomington?
Yeah. So you can go down, do that, go get some food.
Make a whole day of it.
Right.
And that's the cool thing about anytime we do any show, live theater, what makes live theater great is that it is an economic driver for the city. If you go to a movie, you often save room for popcorn, but you have pizza at home, and then you go there and you go home. If you go see a show at the BPP, our audience surveys basically say, you make a night of it. You go out to dinner beforehand. You'll likely go out to Switchyard and get a drink afterwards. You might go shopping, but an arts patron is highly more likely
to make an economic impact.
To do more than just spend money. So
that appeals to my business sense,
right?
If it doesn't appeal to your art sense, well, maybe it'll appeal to your business sense. That's good business.
Well, because everyone thinks that arts is the froofy thing. That,
right.
Well, we just have our hand out asking for more and more money.
Right.
And the question is, why should the city support that? Why should anyone give to your charity? And honestly, at the end of the day, we're one of the most sound economic investments.
Interesting.
Because of the beautification of what we brought to the street, the amount of people that we bring downtown, just in filling the parking meter money.
Right. But, right. There you go. Right.
But you know what I mean?
Don't park on 8th Street because that's where all the birds are.
That is true.
Karen has a story, but we'll tell that afterwards.
Yeah, no.
And I would venture to say that you bring in people from out of town as well.
Yeah, we put heads in beds and all that stuff. So as far as arts are an integral part of what you need to have a city be successful because you don't want to have empty restaurants.
Yeah.
And we can help fill those up along with our arts friends. So we've seen that. We've proven it. And any money that has been invested into us from the city, we've already paid back 5 times over.
Awesome. Well, Karen.
I love this. This is like
I know, right?
I know. I was one of my most favorite shows.
Yes.
So I know. I hate to say that because all of our shows are great, and I'm always so energized and motivated at the end of the show. But honestly, I was really secretly excited about this show for some reason, and I don't know why. Because
it's so
I just was
we could still be talking for another couple hours.
We could because this is probably one of the longest shows we've ever done, but I will say
putting on the lights.
Right, yeah. 5 minutes of it was about bingo, so we'll subtract those 5 minutes. But and I'm refraining from telling all my other theater stories. But anyways, so Bloomington Playwrights Project. What's your website?
It's newplays.org.
Newplays.org. They are on 9th Street, right behind Switchyard Brewing. You can't miss it, the big blue building. So please check them out. Look at what they've got coming up. Your season runs what months?
It's generally September through May, and then our summer camps happen through the summer. And we do a couple of special events in the summer, too. So it's practically year-round, but mostly follows the IU calendar.
So you should make it a goal to go to BPP at least 5 times a year.
Yeah,
that's what we should say, right?
Subscribe. It's
that
stupid
should be
cheap.
The easiest goal ever. That's the most attainable goal.
Right.
You just have to make sure that you get your ticket at least 1 week in advance.
No, but you can get a month or you can get a season subscription and you got 4 plays for the price or 5 plays for the price of 4.
5 plays for the price of 4. It's just stupid cheap. I mean, you're talking about $100 and you can be entertained for the year. What's cool thing about it is we're the only theater in the world that offers the Subscribe It Forward program, which means if you're a current subscriber, let's say Karen subscribes this year. Next year, you're going to get to Subscribe It Forward, which means if you renew, you can give a free subscription to Deb for the whole year.
That'd be you both can go great of me,
right? Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be.
And then you both
go
together, and then next year you both renew your subscription. You both can now invite 2 new people.
Else. Wow!
And so we've been able to quintuple our subscribership base.
What a great idea!
And the people who go as a group more likely to go out to drink and eat and spend money. Right. So it all benefits everyone.
Brilliant. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we'll have to definitely look at that. And I mean, you think about a season subscription would be a great Christmas present for someone, or holiday present, birthday present, or whatever. So,
treat yourself.
Well,
it costs $100 to take a family of 4 to the movies.
It costs $100 for a burger now.
Yeah. This is like... That's true. Yeah. That's true. All right. So check them out. Thank you so much for joining us today, Chad. We really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And thanks for having me.
Yeah. And we look forward to seeing more great success and bring in some more famous people. That's cool too.
Yeah. No problem. We'll get some coming up, actually.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll be back. You are at home in Bloomington. Got a show idea? I'd love to hear it. And be sure to contact me for all your real estate needs and questions, too. You can email me at deb@realrealestatetoday.com and follow me on Facebook at Deb Tomorrow Realtor. To contact Karan Rastel for all your mortgage needs, call 812-606-7653 or log on to ruoff.com and go to the Bloomington Center. Thanks to all the Bloomington people who make production of At Home in Bloomington possible. Special thanks to superstar producer Rachel G. Gregorio, digital guru Cynthia Hogan at Monster Digital Marketing for website design and hosting, and video genius Wes Lasher in the production house for engineering the show.